Now, it is my privilege to introduce you to our Chief Guest of Honor, Srimati Meenakshi Lekhi. Srimati Meenakshi Lekhi is a Member of Parliament from the New Delhi Parliamentary Constituency. She enrolled with the Bar Council of Delhi in 1990 and started practicing at the Supreme Court of India, Delhi High Court, other courts, tribunals, and forums in Delhi, and also at other parts of the country. She has urged a wide variety of matters such as bails, revisions, trials, appeals, criminal writs, murder references, Prevention of Corruption Act, Official Secrets Act, Custom Act, domestic violence, and family law dispute. Srimati Meenakshi Lekhi has been part of the drafting committee for bills like Women Reservation Bill and Problem of Sexual Harassment at Workplace. She has been in National Commission for Women's Special Committee, Chairperson of Special Task Force on Women Empowerment, Vice Chairperson of JPM Blind School, New Delhi, and Joint Secretary Blind Relief Association. I kindly invite you, ma'am, to deliver this inaugural speech.
Good morning, everyone. And I must thank ShaktiCon and I must thank Amma for such a fantastic initiative. As the name suggests, ShaktiCon. But the fact is that Shakti to deal with cons is what we need. And Shakti is what women usually have. And Indian women are no strangers, but while listening to my previous speaker from UNESCO, I realized that we as Indians suffer from historical and cultural biases. And historical and cultural bias, one being an Indian, and on top of that being women, we suffer from double whammy and double jeopardy and double sense of bias is what we are usually dealing with. And when we look at the data in detail, India is actually ahead of the world when it comes to women in technology. India has the highest number of women graduates in the STEM field, although 44% of the entire STEM graduates are women. This number faces a sharp decline as one goes up in the higher levels of education. And only 6% opt for a PhD in engineering and technology, and women account for only 14% of the total scientists, engineers, technologists in research and developmental institutions. The number of women working in AI is above the global average, which is 24%. And according to 2019 report on gender diversity in AI research, India ranks 18 out of 34 countries in the share of papers with at least one female author and 16 in the unique female authors category. Furthermore, the average penetration of AI skills in India in specific sectors such as software, IT services, hardware, and networking education, finance, manufacturing, etc., is 2.6 times higher than the global average when we decipher the data across the similar sets of occupations. So the point I'm trying to make is it is imperative to set young girls and youth involved in AI. At the same time, we must take pride in ourselves and the fact that government has started with new education policy and has stressed that school children will have to be exposed to crucial skills such as digital literacy is imperative. And I wish and pray that the crucial skills in not just in terms of digital literacy, but coding, computational thinking format, and many teaching contemporary subjects such as artificial intelligence, design thinking, etc., 3D mechanism, big data analysis, machine learning will also integrate our social setups where more and more female children get into the field and maybe outwit the other streams. And that is what the true education, which is ready for the new industrial revolution, will be ready professionals in coming future. And that is why I normally insist that there has to be a national strategy for AI. And taking it further from where my previous speaker ended, that in terms of emerging technologies, Alexa and others, where they are showing women in more subservient roles. There's a other kind of bias which exists in the system, and there is a stereotype which is woven in our communications, and that already existing social bias is what we usually face and watch even in AI world, because AI world is reflective of how societies operate. A big technology firm like Amazon was making use of a secret AI to filter applications, and it was found that it preferred male candidates over female candidates. Now, this is the kind of applications sifting which is going on in various firms. Now, obviously, these kind of filtration will cause less women to join the workforce because there is a already existing bias in the system. And this program was eventually scrapped once it was discovered. And in other instance, Google uh, translate changed she is a doctor to he is a doctor, and he is a babysitter to she is a babysitter. There have also been cases where AI have analyzed women's faces, hair, calling it pretty, uh, dark, blonde, so on and so forth. And in case of men, business, smart, etc. So all this is reflective of the historical and cultural bias which women suffer from. And machine learning is reflective of the mindset of the people who are feeding data, collecting data. And if women are less, I mean, in the field of engineering, manufacturing, then that is not what it is going to continue. Things are changing, and I always say that AI is not the future, AI is the present. Technology is not the future, technology is the present, as COVID has shown already that whether it's interconnectivity or delivery systems or machinations, we need it all. And for better delivery systems, we need it all. And thus, the question of cybersecurity, because if there is a social bias existing against women and is reflected by the machines, how do we expect women to remain secure in the cyber world? Because they are consumers of the same technology, they live in a biased society, and they have to outgrow all these challenges in their real life. So whether it's Mission Mars to Mission Moon, India has shown many women in the field of rocketry, in the field of missile. I remember Tessie Thomas, who was our uh, face as a is a missile woman after APJ Kalam. The second phase, I'm sure there have been many in between, but the first phase was uh, APJ Kalam, for the simple reason uh, uh, there's a bias that Muslims coming from southern India cannot grow to become uh, uh, in, in the field of science and rise to such high places as the former president APJ Kalam. But India has shown the way how far minorities can go in a country like ours, which is very unlike many other countries of the West which call themselves developed. Similarly, how a women how women scientists like Tessie Thomas showed, and she became like a star, that how women dressed in sari, wearing flowers in their hair, were top of the line scientists who could work anywhere, like Swati Mohan today has become a poster girl for NASA. And that doesn't mean that society is free of biases when it comes to women engineers or scientists in respective fields. We've seen earlier occasions, Kalpana Chawla to very many names where Indian scientists have done exceedingly well, irrespective of whether they are men or women. And thus I say Indians suffer historical bias by virtue of being Indians, and women suffer double bias by virtue of being Indian and women, because the way we dress, the way we eat, the way our value systems operate, we come across as if we are from a different planet and not from, while we may be handling mission Mars, but people think we belong to Mars also. When it comes to cyber security, I maintain that in the field of security, in real life or cyber security itself, we have to be both uh, a consumer and the leader. And thus, when we are the consumers and the leaders, we need to handle biases in every field. Uh, when it comes to the machinations, in the sense that what has government done, how government is working. So I think first way to start is that women in India are confident and they are doing well. And that doesn't mean we have crossed the glass ceiling. There is no more work to do. There is a lot of work which still needs to be done and which has to be done. But cyber crime prevention against society per se, or and women in particular, or children, there is a scheme which is CCP WC, which means Cyber Crime Prevention Against Women and Children. It's a scheme which gives effective mechanism to handle cyber crimes. Why I'm stating this, that those who are watching this program familiarize themselves with the kind of schemes which government is running, and in case any such offense happens, you know where to report and how to get across, and how to save and secure women and children in the country. And there the police and other public authorities will come together, because usually the police and public safety and security are state subjects, and state is primarily responsible for such prevention, detection and investigation of crimes. And law enforcement agencies need to take action in terms of the Information Technology Act against fraud, offenders of sexual offenses, sexual harassment at workplace, sexual harassment, online bullying, etc. And the first mechanism to that is that there has to be a reporting of that crime, and post-reporting, the cyber forensic lab will get into the detail, and that doesn't, and this kind of capacity building is a constant effort in this field, because criminals get smarter. Whoever has a better computer and technology tends to become still smarter. Thus, there has to be a constant investment, both in terms of time and technology, for upgradation to prevent the online crimes. The online platforms, which is like a central portal, because the capacity building of various states is lacking, and we being a quasi federal structure, the center is playing its role, and I urge upon various state governments to keep improvising their system in terms of CCTNS, which is crime and criminal tracking network systems, to undertake the project of women's safety and security. And under this portal, cybercrime victim can file a complaint, and the portal will then provide a central repository to identify the cybercrime, which is, as of now, a very, very important aspect. And complaint then will be used and published in their annual analytic report. Their trends, etc., will be analyzed, and remedial measures also will be taken up. The portal includes repository, references, enforcement, regulatory agencies at national level, state and local level. So this is to basically help various state governments and come together with a single format which is applicable to the country in terms of cyber related crime information. And CCPW's forensic lab basically properly collects, preserves evidence, etc. Because whenever we are dealing with crimes, we must understand that these offenses, an FIR will be registered, and post the FIR, we need to carry out investigation. Post the investigation, the evidence has to be led in the court, and only then can a criminal be punished. The very nature of cybercrime is such that it has a global network, and interconnectivity of the internet itself sometimes makes it difficult to bring the criminal to the books, because while the crime may have happened in one country, the criminal could actually be stationed in another country. And that's where I feel agencies like UN and all can come together and make certain offenses as extraditable offenses. So when there is a need to set up protocols, I think we are missing a point that the crime which is happening online, and not necessarily just sexual crime, it could be monetary crime, it could be sexual crime, it could be fraudulent crime. Any such crime needs to be made extraditable offense, and only then we will serve the real meaning of justice, because many a times these people go unchallenged and are not being brought to books in the countries where they have committed such cyber uh, crimes. And in terms of cyber security professionals, I definitely feel that law enforcement agencies need to assist women, and electronic forensic studies need to be introduced as a subject across the country. The lab's capacity needs to be constantly upgraded and increased. We also have an institution called NEPA, which is Northeastern Police Academy, which usually conducts a 5-day program on cybercrime investigation. And recently, 23 police officers from Meghalaya Police Force had engaged with NEPA to get trained at detecting, investigating, and bringing the culprits to the books in cyber crime related offenses. And around $13.2 million, which has been issued to the country states and union territories for capacity building by the central agency for training and upgradation of already existing cyber labs. The schemes facilitate to create awareness activities, R&D, and Center of Excellence for R&D Cybercrime. So I feel that awareness creation is as important as do's and don'ts to a proactive mitigation initiative. Why I'm stating all this is by virtue of this particular conference. I'm also trying to reach out to people who are not aware of the existing systems. And once they are aware, awareness itself is the first step towards prevention. And thus we can carry out a greater educational methodology in terms of challenging the criminals, and also upgrading and facilitating women and children, especially female child, online by training them about do's and don'ts online, about protecting their safety and security from online bullying to stalking to everything else that goes online and goes unchallenged, and even so many blackmails which we see happen because of um, identity theft to uh, morphing the pictures of young girl child and making them viral. Recently, there was one such case which was decided by Delhi High Court. Um, there is even on Twitter and other platforms where there are handles like Cyber Dost, radio campaigns broadcast across the country. Government is hoping to create awareness against cyber crimes, but I think universities like Mata Amritanandan universities and women folks, women who are more experienced in life could be the key agents of change in creating awareness amongst the younger women who join the workforce or who are likely to join the workforce or who are using internet to keeping themselves upgraded on various subjects. I think when it comes to women and children, uh, they need to be trained at by the institutions, and a better planning needs to happen, and thus special provisions in law need to be brought in to protect the minors and especially women. Uh, Recently, we saw that how social networks were selling data, and there have been data breaches by many agencies. Now, whatever we do online, one thing we must know and learn that digital footprints cannot be altered and digital footprints cannot truly be removed. They are always traceable and they remain in the cyber network. So, women must understand that no matter how uh, people compel you to engage in certain acts, please don't engage with those actions because there is no way of erasing your footprint. And some people may actually use all those things against you, and that kind of awareness must exist. In terms of software and hardware, uh, many service companies have a lot to do uh, when it comes to strengthening the women workforce in information technology and service industry, which today stands at 34. I would say this is not bad, but there is a lot of gap when it. So I look at it that it should be 50% in coming years. So from 34 to 50% the workforce, there is some target, and women have to also upgrade themselves, and agencies which are engaging with society also need to change their attitude and inherent bias in the systems, because this systemic discrimination is what is leading to a tilted existence of women in the workforce. And Microsoft Data Security Council of India launched a program called Cyber Shiksha. It's a 3-year program to create a pool of skilled cybersecurity women professionals in the country. I would suggest that university looks into it and offers some program on this line. And when it comes to governments taking steps to encourage women in STEM field, I must compliment the government because there is something called Vigyan Prasar, which is Vigyan Jyoti and Engage with Science. There is knowledge involvement, research, advancement through nurturing, which is called Kiran, a feminine name again. Curie, we all remember Madam Curie, which is consolidation of university research through innovation and excellence in women universities. That is Curie and DST. Biotechnology Career Advancement and Reorientation Program, which is called BioCare. I was listening to a very short film on Amma, which said that women possess special qualities. And I think caring and nurturing, because when you talk of Bhumata, Gaumata, and other forms of Mata, you are definitely catering to the nurturing quality of women. And that nurturing quality comes from care, and biocare is something which is so important, especially in the field of pandemic. And recent past has shown that how important it is for women who have been on the front line when it comes to the care industry. And government also offers National Award for Women Scientists of Ministry of Earth Sciences, Women Excellence Award called SERB, which is an award to encourage scientists, women scientists, and all these, what should I say, encouraging steps are basically meant to encourage more and more women to join science and technology as meritorious girl students in the age of 9 to 12 are also able to pursue STEM from young ages to higher secondary and further studies. So I see an unprecedented growth of women scientists in our country, unprecedented strength which this country inherently offers to women, where the world is not tolerance, the world is respect when it comes to women and people belonging to other communities. We do not believe in tolerance, we believe in respecting each other. And thus, women will strengthen the society as and when they join fields of technology. I purposely have used this platform to spread awareness because I feel whether uh, recent changes which American society has taken in terms of cyber security merit badge, or other countries are taking towards empowering their girl child. We have been doing it for some time, and that effort needs to continue. And that effort will continue only when we recognize our strengths. Many a times, the inherent bias which exists in the society amongst uh, amongst the world or the global population continues to impact our own existence within our own countries also. So the first step could be, before empowerment, we should know what our strengths are, and our strengths are huge when we compare ourselves with any other country. And therefore, I feel whether it's the field of cyber security, which has already shown that 52% of the women hold advanced degrees in cybersecurity compared to 44% of men. And still we say female are less represented. I think we need a change of attitude also. At times, the biological cycles of women's life, when it is marriage, young children at home, senior citizens which need to be looked after, parents, parent-in-laws, those are also sometimes the factors which at times allow women to plan their careers differently. And I feel let's not judge ourselves harshly because priorities at emotional level for women could be very different. The better methodology could be that allow women their space and whatever they are comfortable with, and at whatever stage they want to come back to the normal workforce, that should be allowed. Flexi timing could be one way of operating, because that's what gives women more satisfaction when they have to deal with various or multiplicity of roles as people, as persons. And I definitely feel that whether it's Ministry of Electronics, Information and Technology, Government of India, ISE, Data Security Council of India, Microsoft, Innovation Labs, and Intel, everyone is trying to do their bit to get more and more women as part of the IT workforce, simply because they have a unique opportunity to work with women, and teams which have women are better performers, and there are data to suggest that. The only way to have a greater workforce will be to start various centers across smaller cities across India, because traveling across distant places could also be one impediment for women who need to live close to their homes for various social reasons. So if you have a IT industry operating out of Gurgaon, a, a woman scientist or an engineer living in Kerala who has elderly parents or parent-in-laws will find it difficult to join, and she will pick up a different stream to work from home rather than continue in the challenging field of IT. So decentralizing these spaces, making flexi time available to women, so that the very nature, we are not battling against the nature of care and nurture, which is also inherent with women. And a better way to reach out to women will be training them, making them aware, using their skills, and once they join the workforce, giving them a fair atmosphere in which they can express themselves. And thus, the module for getting more women to work could be slightly different from the manner in which the IT industry is used to. And thus, women leaders will come from the space of technology only when this human resource is nurtured and cared for, and which will afford India to progress and get ahead in 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 the world. And globally, we will have mainstreaming of events, because different timings work for different people. And let's have more women as keynote speakers in in conferences on IT, emerging technology, AI, so that we can showcase to the world that this is what women are capable of. And Indian women, especially, I believe, are capable of far more than the world has ever witnessed. With these words, thank you all, and all the very, very best for a secure future. Let's all work together to get more and more women in the cybersecurity field, and create awareness amongst women and girl child, even when they are not in the cybersecurity field, but they could be there as consumers. And we bring more and more people together and take a lot of pride in our own existence as women, as Indian women. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Srimati Meenakshi Lekhi, for your wise words. Very interesting statistics, which is very motivating for many STEM aspirants here. It is definitely important, as you have mentioned, that children should also be introduced to cutting-edge technologies. Government initiatives on digital literacy covering latest trends in computer science will certainly include more women down the lane. Taking your suggestion, yes, we have several strong programs in cybersecurity as undergraduate and graduate level that integrates hands-on skills, ethics, and professionalism. Hopefully, the gender bias that is present in the current day scenario will change down the line, and many more women will become more successful in this industry. Thank you for bringing forth important points with respect to cybercrime. It is indeed unfortunate that some women fall prey to cybercrime, and hopefully conferences like this raise more awareness in women. The sky is our limit.